Hello and welcome back to On Air with Dr. Pete. I'm your host, Dr. Pete Economo, and I'm thrilled to be back here. Summer is flying by. I cannot imagine how fast it's going, and I hope you're enjoying every minute with intention. My goal for this podcast has been a place for us to come together and to learn and to grow and gain some understanding about the world. And today I'm really excited to share with our next guest, who comes to us all the way from Thailand. And so scheduling was a lot of fun for this. So this is Clay Moffitt. He's an ex-Navy weapons tech turned high-performance mental conditioning specialist and behaviorist. Drawing from the military background and his own personal struggles, Clay focuses on reshaping perspectives and fostering personal accountability for growth. I love that. His work focuses on nervous system alignment. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about that. So, and I can't wait just to learn so much about Clay and the work that he does. So again, I appreciate you being here because, you know, from New Jersey, our time zones, it's the end of your day and the beginning of ours. So Clay, welcome.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. And I think all the scheduling mumbo jumbo we went through just makes it all the more worthwhile to be here, you know? So it's good.
All the more worthwhile. Thank you so much. So tell us about it back. I mean, I gave you the intro here, very impressive, you know, performance coach, ex-Navy, military. So tell us about you.
So the easiest thing to say and to start off with is that I was a complete ratbag for probably the first 27 years of my life. So a lot of people think ex-Navy, oh, this guy must be really disciplined and he must be this. And most of my discipline didn't come from the Navy. It came from my parents. My dad's ex-Special Forces, and he was very much a disciplinarian when he was home. And he wasn't in the military when I was growing up. He'd already left.
Okay.
However, you know, when you take the boy out of the army, you can't take the army out of the boy kind of things, that kind of conditioning gets in there.
Yeah.
And so he was very, very strict with us, but he also used to be a hotel manager. So he'd be working 18 hours a day. So he wasn't around that much until the later of my formative years where I'm more in the socialization stage and I'm like 14, 15. And my last few years of school, he was around a lot. But prior to that, I didn't really get to see him that much unless we were going on holidays with the family or something like that every now and again.
Where was this?
This is in Perth, Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the West Coast, if you transplant Australia to the US, I'm in LA, basically.
Okay. That's helpful for us US folks. You know, we're not known to have very good geography in America.
Yeah.
Like an understanding of it.
There's a story that I don't know how true it is, but I would believe it because Australians can be pretty big jerks.
Yeah.
That when we were in the Navy, there was an American ship, USS Kitty Hawk. It was one of the last diesel carriers that you guys had. Okay. And it pulled into Sydney, and they had shore leave. And one of the guys had met up with the Australians at the bar, and he'd expressed his interest in going to Perth. And they said, "I'll just go get the train. Like, you'll have the best. It's going to be the best day trip of your life. You're going to have so much fun. Like, go to this station, get this ticket. It's going to be really expensive because it's a day trip. So everything's expensive in Australia." So they primed this guy to completely mess it up. It's 4 days to get from Sydney to Perth.
Oh, my God.
And they were calling for this guy on the PA over the broadcast system when the QS Kitty Hawk is trying to depart. Yeah. And I can only assume this poor guy listened to all these sailors, got on the train, and one way not having any idea that he was not going to be back.
That reminds me of my time in Africa, and they'd be like, well, this is the fast boat. And like, it was like, you know, because they're all trying to get you like to go to like Zanzibar actually. And so there was like, the fast boat was actually like 4.5 hours versus the actual fast boat, which was an hour. So I know sometimes we take advantage of some tours, but that's all right. So Clay, you talk openly about losing your sight gave you true vision, which so share with us about that.
So 2010, well, technically December 26, 2009, not that I remember. I was at a music festival, and I was leaving one stage, making my way across to the other stage. And walking along, very happy, talking with my girlfriend at the time, and just lost the vision in my left eye. Just complete black. I'm like, oh, this is strange. I don't know what's going on here. I was drunk at the time, so there was no real big concern for me. I'm like, I'll go see the doctors tomorrow. Like, see optometrist, be great.
Wow.
Short version of that, detached my retina. They reattached it. That surgery failed. They reattached it. That surgery succeeded. Got really amazing vision back. the stabilizing oil they put in to stabilize the retina then caused cataracts. They operated to remove the cataract and took my vision away again.
Wow.
So I've been blind in my left eye for 15 odd years. Fast forward, November last year, late November last year, early December, I was on a road trip with my now wife and my son, and we're headed up to Khao Sok, about a 2.5, 3 hour drive north of Phuket. And I start seeing double lines on the road.
Sure.
So like it's one line here, but the further out I go, it just starts to pair off. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But I wear a contact lens because I have astigmatism and high myopia and blah, 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 blah. So if the lens doesn't fit perfectly on the exact angle, it actually can distort. So I'm like, it's just my contacts. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine. Right. And I didn't bring my glasses because I had plenty of contacts spare. So for that weekend, I was just like, okay, my vision's just a bit weird. It's fine. Then I get back and put my glasses on. I'm like, my glasses aren't correcting this. This is not a contact problem.
This is something
else.
Yeah.
Over the next 3.5 months, spending thousands and thousands of dollars and getting lots of opinions because of what happened with this eye.
Right.
I exhausted 7 different ophthalmologists, multiple different hospitals, multiple different optometrists and opticians and everything. And when it started to really get uniformed, like the prognosis was, this is cataracts. I'm like, great. Because the only way to repair cataracts is surgery.
Right.
And I am very acutely aware now at this point that there is a chance that this eye could also go the same way.
Sure.
So it was an interesting process. And it was only when I booked the surgery that things actually became real. Like I had a huge wave of relaxation because I found a surgeon and I had gone through and I'd interviewed and I'd selected. It was a selection process for me, right? And I found this one surgeon. The reason I selected him was because he treated me like a human being. And
was this in
Thailand?
Is that in Thailand? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
How long have you been in Thailand for?
11 years.
So this wave of peace comes on because you find the surgeon, and then?
About 3 days later, I'm sitting at home. I'm like, this like just like a slap in the face. It's like, there's a real chance you might not be able to coach anymore. There's a real chance that you're going to be completely dependent for the rest of your life. Like, there's a real chance that a lot of things are going to change for you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, okay, like I've spent the better part of 15 years in self-development and I've done basic courses and I've done this, I've done trainings. I've done a lot to create an impact and it'd be a waste to throw that all away.
Right.
So what's something that I can do that can help the most amount of people for the least amount of investment on their part? I was like, you know what? I'll do like a simple course.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the dumbest idea ever. Because then I've got to maintain servers and I've got to maintain websites and plugins and all the other stuff. But it's a great idea, but it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what about a book? If I can get a book, I'll do that. And so I decided to commit to writing a book and sat down 16 hours a day. My face was 6 inches away from my computer screen. I had the font on 200%. And I took and drew from courses that I taught and podcasts that I'd spoken on. So I didn't start from like absolute scratch. I had like foundations, all the materials. I had research and I wrote the book in 3 weeks.
So that's okay. So that's how the trust trap was born. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk. We'll talk about that in a moment. And so that's before you actually had your surgery on the good eye.
Yeah.
So you were dealing with sort of the anxiety of like what your vision was like and this pending surgery.
So that's the thing. I wasn't really anxious. Yeah. I was just very much, I say it in this way, I was acutely aware of the reality that could happen.
Sure.
And while I was not privy to like the actual chances of it going south like the other one did, because I was so aware of it, I was like, okay, you may never get this chance again.
Right. So let's do it.
Let's just get it done. And it was less genetic? About anxiety. Yeah. I think it was a lot more about
motivation.
A want and desire to like actually do something meaningful.
Yeah. Is it genetic? I mean, that leaves me curious.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we found out after the first surgery that my mum's grandmother lost her left eye.
Oh, wow.
For a long time ago. The cataract thing is, I got rejected. I went to a hospital And I made an appointment. So in Thailand, it's a bit different to everywhere else. You don't need to
Sure.
go see a doctor, then get a specialist. They can just go book straight in with the specialist.
Yeah.
So I went and made this appointment with the ophthalmologist at one of the hospitals, and I went in and reported for my appointment. And they's like, "Oh, sorry, no, you can't see the doctor." And I was like, "What? Excuse me, why not?" "Oh, no, you're under 50, so you can't have cataracts, so you can't have an appointment."
Oh, wow.
I was like, "Okay," and like, your medical degree and training told you that? Because two doctors like 5 minutes down the road have said that I have cataracts.
Cataracts,
And I think they might know better than you because they've looked in my eye.
Right.
So, there's all sorts of things that come on. But yeah, it was the first one with the detached retina was likely hereditary.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure. The cataracts is more than likely just a fast forward because of the compensation, the strain that this eye has had. Now it's been taking the weight and the full brunt because this one has not really been doing anything.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So now you're like living this, and I know during that time you talked about how you wanted to step away from social media and like really connect with your family. So what'd you gain from that, like removing yourself from social media?
So there was two things. One, I started like disconnecting everything. So like, okay, this could be the end. So I don't really want to go try and delete social media when I'm blind. It's a waste of time.
Right.
Second, even though I spent 16 hours a day in front of the computer, the kids were at school. So you probably not going to believe me, but I promise you it's true. I still went and picked the kids up from school, even though I couldn't really see. Yeah, because of my wife's work, she didn't have the capability to go pick them up. Yeah. So someone needs to pick them up from school. So I went and picked them up, just driving exceptionally slow. Right. And it's not a smart move, but I wanted to maximize the time that I did spend with them. So when I was with them, I was with them. And when I was writing the book, I was writing the book. So my wife gave me the space to write the book and be there to write the book. And when I wasn't there, having no social media and having no emails and no nothing, basically just disconnecting from everything, except for my actual current clients at that time who I was still working with and helping. I was just enjoying life and focusing fully on that and actually being able to like, I'm very good at compartmentalizing anyway, I think. I really do believe that I am. And so it just made it even easier to do so.
So earlier when we started, I think you actually said a walking train wreck, and I know I read that you've said that you were a walking train wreck. And so was it the issues and your medical issues with the eyes that helped you turn around, or how else? Like what else kind of was there to help you turn it all around and rebuild your life?
So I would say the first thing that there's a couple of things. First, I walked around in a state of victimhood for the majority of my life, which I mentioned.
Yeah.
What actually got me to start changing wasn't a desire to help people. It was a desire to make people do what I want.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? Because I was such a victim. I'm like, okay, like everyone's screwing me over. So I'm going to figure out like this secret phrase that when I say it, it's like open sesame and people do what I want. Because I was that naive that I thought it existed. And I went through processes and started having some change. But I'd say the big point was I think it's around the 11th of February in 2011. I was training in Katy, Texas, just outside of Houston. And I was working there as a subsea engineer. And the story that I remember might be slightly different. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's quite accurate. I left Australia. My dad got diagnosed with kidney cancer. He ended up having a tumor the size of a gridiron, American football, in his right kidney. He's still got scars, like massive. Anyway, so it was the way the doctors were speaking was like he was going to die. And so he said to me, look, if you stay here and I die, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. And if you don't go on this job for this opportunity, this training, and I survive, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life because you didn't take it. So just go. If you need to come back, you can come back. You can be back within 24 hours. I don't think I'm going to die that quickly, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I left. And the surgery was complicated. It was a Friday morning. It was a Thursday night in Houston. It sleeted in Houston. I don't know if you know, but if it sleets in Houston, basically the whole city just stops. Chaos,
of course,
right?
the South. I know that very well. Yeah, they don't know how to handle any other. Yeah.
No. Right. And so that was the most fortunate turn of events for me because I went drinking that night with a buddy of mine who I used to be in the Navy with. And I thought I was being really clever because I knew I wasn't in the best mood. So I thought I'd just take $20 because $20 will get you 2 pints of beer in Australia.
Right.
$20 will get you 10 pitchers when it's $2 pitcher night at the local pub down the road from where we're staying.
Sure.
So considering I had these issues and I had a lot of stuff that was going on, I got hammered drunk, ended up in jail for breaking into the wrong house. And so clearly I wasn't like trying to do anything malicious. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time doing something stupid.
Yeah.
And ended up going to court. It ended up being a fortunate turn of events, but to get to that point, I had set it up. My dad basically disowned me. He's like, "You've screwed up so much. You've done." He didn't say this to me, but he refused to talk to me when I called. So my mom ended up bailing me out of jail. That was a very interesting story. Language patterns did actually work at that point because I managed to convince a lady to let me send an email to my parents just to let them know, "Look, I'm in jail. You probably won't see me in the next 3 to 5 years. I'll let you know when I'm out," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that freaked my mom out. And so they ended up getting bail and making bail. And then when I called back, my dad didn't want to speak to me. And that was pretty gut-wrenching.
Yeah, hurtful.
To be basically like I was disowned. And that was the starting point for the change and the wake-up call that, okay, like someone that supported and loved you your entire life is now just kind of had enough. Then maybe the problem's you, Maybe it's not everyone else in the world. Yeah. And so that was kind of like the turning point, I'd say. That was definitely the pivotal moment. There's a couple of things after that kind of steamrolled it and carried it going, but I'd say that was probably the linchpin.
And so now you work with like PGA golfers and high performance business professionals, kind of helping them. Yeah.
So I got my start with athletes because in Phuket you have a lot of fighters here. So I don't know if you're into MMA, but George St. Pierre trains down here, and then you've got Alex Volkanovski.
Since you said that, I know I also work with athletes, and I struggle the most with MMA and boxing. I've worked with a few top boxers. Yeah, I just, I grew up in like team sports, and I know MMA didn't exist when I grew up in sports.
Right.
So and it's a little too violent for me. I'm just going to say it. I know people aren't going to like it. It's just a little too violent for me. But being you have some big fighters there, and so that was your entree into working with athletes.
Yep. So I didn't start with the big fighters, right? I was a no-name, no-neck person. When I started this whole coaching business, I was charging $20 a session.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. You got to start somewhere.
Of course.
And
I worked for free for a long time.
There you go. That's it, right? Like you got to pay your dues.
That's right.
And so it was a lot of fun, and I got some results.
Yeah.
And I was working at retreats in Phuket. So I used to speak at retreats quite often, actually every week. And
so like people would come in for these retreats.
Yep. And then the retreats would have me as like this adjunct therapist, but I was never a therapist. Let's be honest.
Right. Just a speaker.
Yeah. And so people would hear me speak, like, "Hey, like, what services do you offer? Can I work with you?" And so I had guys that come in that were ranked in the top 100 in the PGA. I had ladies come in whose nephews were in the AFL and NRL in Australia. And I'm like, "You got to speak to my nephew." And then so I got segued into like athletes and stuff like that, and managed to get guys who were not going to be re-signed by their clubs, re-signed for twice the money of their previous contract because they turned their games around. So like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the athletes was a great thing. The problem I found with athletes is they all made me sign bloody NDAs, so I couldn't talk about anything, which is fine, but it's very difficult to run a business when you can't talk about what you're doing and you can't tell people who you've worked with. And a friend of mine...
that's my world. I legally am not allowed to say anybody I work with.
Right.
Exactly. And so I think, and this is the world we live in where the NDAs, at that level is really common. Even just to come over to people's houses.
Yep, very much so. Sure. Oh, yeah. So then I had a friend, he's like, "Look, you would do great with entrepreneurs." I'm like, what? He's like, "It's the same process.
Yeah.
Like, it's all mental for them."
Yep,
obviously, you've got to have some skill set. But when you get, what I found when I was working with athletes, there's difference between the very top and so the GOATs and the greats.
Yeah.
It's all mindset. Like, they're
100%.
not that much better in skill, right? It's their mindsets, how they approach it, it's their attitudes, how they control, how they regulate all these systems and processes and the system process that they have, and they can stack together.
Yeah,
And
I always say that's what separates gold from silver, like in the Olympic Games. You know, I mean, it's not. They're all training the same. They probably have the same kind of team around them. So on the onset, we talked about the nervous system and regulation there. So you believe that our nervous system hijacks us, repeating these toxic patterns. I know you talk a lot about sort of patterns that people fall into. So how do you integrate that, and what's your understanding of that?
So my understanding of that is simple. We have developed, if you take the evolutionary psychology approach, we have developed these means and mechanisms of learning to survive. So, for example, we remember locations based on memory because of high caloric foods, right? So back in the day, like, oh, this is the mango. We get tons of nutrients from it. It's going to be easy to remember. Our brain's like, this is important. Pay attention. And it shortcuts the path to get there.
Yes.
And then it likes to take these heuristics and these processes, and it wants to learn everything as fast as it can and turn it to an automatic process. So we're having a conversation. I'm on air with Dr. Pete. Dr. Pete and I are doing great. I can learn that I can trust Dr. Pete, that he's honest, that he's integral, he does all these things. So now you come into this box where I see you as safe. So now I stop paying attention.
Right.
And this is the trap that people have with their neurology. Their neurology is developed to conserve energy as much as possible. So if you have to be on 24/7 and paying attention to every single person, you're going to be exhausted. So your brain takes these natural heuristics and shortcuts and starts to process things. And then people get put in this safety zone or this trustworthy zone or whatever kind of zone you want to put them in.
Sure.
And then we start to negate conflicting signals which come through cognitive biases that we have because it doesn't match up the internal representation we've got inside our head.
Beautiful. I love how you put that. So you also mentioned that you feel like trust. This was really interesting to me. That trust is not a feeling; it's a pattern.
Yes, sir.
So break that down for us.
So that leverages off just what we went over, right? So my definition of trust is not in a characteristic, and it's definitely not in a feeling. It is of a mutually beneficial outcome. There's no permanence to it. It is a evolving process. And if you break it down from the English language version, then trust is the normalization of the word, of the process, trusting.
Yes.
And then so it comes to, okay, how do I want to be trusting Dr. Pete right now? And the simplest way to put it that's going to be as relevant as possible for you and your audience is this. Right now, you read my bio. You seem to be going back and forth. You are trusting that I'm going to come on this podcast to deliver as much value to your audience and have a great conversation. I am trusting you to host me in the best way possible so it is mutually beneficial for the both of us to be here to align and move forward together.
Right, exactly.
And when that is no longer mutually beneficial, I can be completely trusting that you're going to do what's in your best interest and I'm going to do what's in mine. And it doesn't mean you're screwing me over or I'm screwing you over. It means we're doing what human beings do, which is looking out to make sure that we're safe. End of story.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's you learn, and I think some people are, when they learn that, they're just so taken aback and they think that the human race is doomed. And it's like, no, the fact that you had the expectation of people to, care about you in the same way you care about yourself is part of it. So the trust trap, I want to make sure that we get a chance to hear you talk about that, because I know it's a great book. And so your writing process obviously was really intense. Pick up the kids from school, and I like everything you did was with intentional. So tell us about the trust trap.
So the trust trap was, in essence, this process and a bunch of systems and tools and techniques that allow you to go from seeing the world in a state of victimhood, if that's where you're at, or seeing the world through rose-colored glasses, if that's where you're at, to being able to see the world as objectively as I believe it's possible. I don't think we can ever see it in a truly objective nature.
Right.
However, it gives you a set of systems and set of protocols that takes you through a journey where, first of all, the first 2 chapters of the book, I often get messages and emails saying, this book is fantastic and I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
And so I'll email back saying, what's going on? Are you on chapter 2? They're like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, this is standard. Like, this is perfectly normal, because it's very confronting.
Sure.
And the bold claim, I'm going to say bold, the bold claim I make is that there's no such thing as betrayal, only self-betrayal.
Yeah.
And that self-betrayal exists because of this shortcut that we spoke about just a moment ago, whereby our nervous system is trained to shortcut everything and therefore it frames this person as trustworthy. And then we start going, no. But they're trustworthy. They would never do that to me. But the information is there. And so I typically ask people, okay, as a show of hands, don't put your hand up if you can say that you were blindsided, backstabbed, or betrayed, however you want to frame it, because some people see it in different lenses. So that happened to you, and you didn't see it coming. So if you did see it coming looking back, but you ignored the signs, put your hand up. And it's 100% of the time, in every single room, I'm yet to find someone in the room that keeps their hand down.
Right.
I'm like, right. So if you're telling me that looking back, you could see it, which means you could see it real time.
That's
You
right.
just ignored it.
Yeah.
But if you couldn't see it, if you kept your hand down, you're like, okay, I couldn't see it. I'm like, okay, now we've got something new. Like, you're busting my hypothesis. Let's dive in. Let's see how we can extract that. Yeah.
It's really interesting because I think, this is a lot of really interesting just to hear. And I know that you and I can talk so much longer, but it's funny how the brain and the nervous system, and I love that you're building that into your coaching because it's just so critical. And I know that you also do the autonomic plasticity, kind of the NAP, and there's probably so much more that we could talk about because these toxic patterns, people don't trust their gut. And that's what I always talk about, the enteric nervous system. It's just trying to build a relationship with it. I was also thinking that you've got some great readers because a lot of times readers would just say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about and, cancel him, versus like chapter 2, they're like, let me sit on this a little bit and let me take a break. So shout out to your readers for, being open and listening.
I try to frame things a lot, and I try to frame it even in the book description.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that is going to slap you in the face.
Yeah.
And I'll put, like, if you are not prepared to be confronted by a book,
put it down.
Don't buy this book because you will be confronted and you'll hate it. And I don't mind if you hate it and you write me a 1-star review. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just be warned. This is what's going to happen.
This is real. This is real work.
Yeah.
This is real work. Yeah. Well,
so definitely go dive in if you're signed up for that. And if you're not, then do yourself a favor and take another book.
You heard it here, so I love that. It's a good author. So, Clay, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story and giving our listeners a lot to think about. So we'll have is there any last bit of wisdom or piece that you'd want somebody to hear you say?
Yeah, okay. So if you can get the one concept, and that is that trust is this mutually beneficial outcome, and you can take these layers and peel them back and start to understand that when you're looking through the lens of trust as a mutually beneficial outcome, then you peel it back further and see that it applies to yourself.
Yeah.
And the self part is the mutually beneficial outcome means if you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind working towards a mutually beneficial outcome, then you'll always get that outcome. And as soon as they are not aligned, you will not get that outcome because your subconscious is always in the background running the show, and you'll make progress and then fail, make progress and then fail. And so that's why I found it was so really powerful because, like you said, this sense of self-trust is so important. When you can start to interpret what these things actually mean, which is why in the book I go into the nonverbals and linguistic lie detection and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you can peel that back and you can arm your conscious mind with the information that says, actually, pay attention to this because there's something going on.
Yeah.
It allows you to revert and start to understand and really trust yourself. So therefore, you can get the results you want.
All right. I just lied. I have one last question. What is one thing you're grateful for? I just had that thought. I was like, what is
one thing I'm grateful for? There's too many to list.
I know.
I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my parents for being awesome. I'm grateful I've got a fantastic brother. I've got good friends. I am grateful, as absurd and stupid and corny as this is going to sound.
Yeah.
I am grateful for the kick in the ass that I got by almost losing my vision and doing the due diligence that I did to find a surgeon that I could connect with.
Amen.
I'm so grateful for that because up until that point, I would say I was just another mindset coach, right? You throw a penny, you hit a million of them.
Sure.
And that it gave me the drive to really dig into the work that I've been doing and pull out, what is the fundamental part of this? And now I've got something that I don't think many people, if anyone else, is talking about.
I love it.
It's awesome. I've got something of genuine value to offer people. So I'm massively grateful that this happened.
I love it. Thanks for being here, Clay. This was awesome. And thanks to those listening at home. Your support's always appreciated. We continue to bring you fresh new content every week. So as always, please like, follow, and share. Everything is at officialdrpete.com. And until then, spread a little kindness and stay well.